President Trump fired back at Chief Justice John Roberts on Wednesday after the leader of the Supreme Court rebuked the president over his criticism of an Obama judge. "Sorry, Chief Justice John Roberts, but you do indeed have Obama judges, and they have a much different point of view than the people who are charged with the safety of our country," the president tweeted Wednesday afternoon. "It would be great if the Ninth Circuit was indeed an independent judiciary," Trump added, "but if it is, why are so many opposing view on border and safety cases filed there, and why are a vast number of those cases overturned?" Trump's tweets came after Roberts released a rare statement rebuking the president earlier Wednesday, saying the U.S. doesn't have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges. "What we have is an extraordinary group of dedicated judges doing their level best to do equal right to those appearing before them," Roberts said in the statement. The Supreme Court released the statement from Roberts a day after the president criticized a federal judge in California who ruled against his administration's asylum policy. U.S. District Court Judge John Tiger's ruling prevented the administration from blocking asylum claims from immigrants who do not enter the U.S. at a legal port of entry. Trump took aim at the judge on Tuesday while defending his administration's policy. The president dismissed the judge, whom he did mention by name, calling him an Obama judge. Tiger was nominated to the federal bench by the former president in 2012. His criticism of the judge came as Trump railed against the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which is known for frequently blocking policy initiatives on immigration and national security from the Trump administration. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders later released her own statement denouncing Tiger's ruling as another example of activist judges imposing their open borders policy preferences. Tiger's court in Northern California has its cases appealed to the Ninth Circuit. Both courts are located in San Francisco. "You cannot win if you're us, a case in the Ninth Circuit, and I think it's a disgrace when people file. Every case gets filed in the Ninth Circuit," the president told reporters Tuesday. "That's not law. That's not what this country stands for. Every case that gets filed in the Ninth Circuit, we get beaten, and then we end up having to go to the Supreme Court." Trump has long clashed with members of the judiciary on various issues. Last year, the president sparked backlash after he blasted a so-called judge following the first federal ruling against his administration's travel ban. Trump also claimed that the judge would be to blame if something happens. Trump was also criticized by members of both parties after he questioned whether an Indiana judge's Mexican heritage would prevent him from ruling fairly on cases, including a lawsuit against the since-shuttered Trump University.
Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts and President Donald Trump took swipes at each other Wednesday in an extraordinary exchange over just how partisan federal courts really are. Roberts said Wednesday morning there are no Obama judges or Trump judges after the president attacked the judge who ruled against his attempt to restrict asylum seekers at the border earlier this week. "We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges," Roberts said in a statement. "What we have is an extraordinary group of dedicated judges doing their level best to do equal right to those appearing before them. That independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for." Later in the afternoon, Trump hit back with two posts on Twitter. "Sorry, Chief Justice John Roberts, but you do indeed have Obama judges, and they have a much different point of view than the people who are charged with the safety of our country. It would be great if the Ninth Circuit was indeed an independent judiciary, but if it is, why?" the president wrote, followed by, "Are so many opposing view on border and safety cases filed there, and why are a vast number of those cases overturned? Please study the numbers, they are shocking. We need protection and security. These rulings are making our country unsafe, very dangerous and unwise." The statement from Roberts, who was appointed by President George W. Bush, was a stark divergence from the Chief Justice's stoic aversion to publicly criticizing Trump, even as the president has railed against federal judges who did not rule in his favor. Carl Tobias, a professor at the University of Richmond School of Law, called Trump's comments against the judiciary unprecedented in modern history and praised Roberts for defending the judicial branch. Chief justices have historically avoided fighting with the other co-equal branches of government, but Tobias said he was heartened by Wednesday's break from deference to keep Trump in his lane. "I think it's great that the Chief Justice has said something," because the Senate has done nothing on these issues and somebody has to protect the independence of the judiciary, Tobias said. So I'm not troubled. The Associated Press first reported Roberts' comments. Talking to reporters at the White House on Tuesday, Trump criticized Judge John Tigar of U.S. District Court in Northern California, who ruled against his policy announced this month that would require migrants to apply for asylum at legal border crossings. Currently, migrants can present themselves to immigration officers after illegally crossing the border and request asylum. Cases from the Northern District of California are appealed to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. A number of advocacy groups sued the Trump administration shortly after it announced the policy, and Tigar issued a temporary restraining order effectively thwarting the president's efforts. Trump on Tuesday accused Tigar of being an Obama judge and called the Ninth Circuit a disgrace. Tigar was appointed by President Barack Obama in 2012. Every case gets filed in the Ninth Circuit because they know that's not law. They know that's not what this country stands for. Every case that gets filed in the Ninth Circuit, we get beaten, Trump said. People should not be allowed to immediately run to this very friendly circuit and then file their case. He also said, the Ninth Circuit is really something we have to take a look at because it's not fair. Trump added that he felt confident the case over his asylum policy would go to the Supreme Court where his administration would prevail, similar to his travel ban on citizens of several majority Muslim countries. A modified version of that policy was upheld in the Supreme Court after several challenges in lower federal courts, with Roberts writing the majority opinion in that case. Even before Trump's presidency, Republicans have tried to fill federal courts with conservative judges, blocking Obama's Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland from getting a Senate vote. Trump ultimately filled the seat left vacant by Justice Antonin Scalia's death with Justice Neil Gorsuch. Senate Republicans stalled several of Obama's appointees to federal courts until former Senator Harry Reid, Democrat Nevada, unleashed the nuclear option to change Senate rules requiring only a simple majority to approve most federal judicial nominations. This year, Republicans and Democrats engaged in a dramatic fight over the confirmation of Justice Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's second nominee to the High Court, which was mired in allegations of sexual assault. Both parties accused each other of toying with parliamentary procedure and manipulation in order to block or ram through the confirmation. Trump has a track record of attacking the judiciary. He disparaged a federal judge in Hawaii last year as practicing unprecedented judicial overreach when he blocked an executive order barring entry to citizens of some majority Muslim countries. In another Wednesday tweet, Trump even toyed with dividing the Ninth Circuit into 2 or 3 circuits because, he said, it is too big. He also claimed that 79% of decisions in the Ninth Circuit get overturned. But that percentage actually refers to decisions by the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, not all courts in the circuit, which includes several bankruptcy and district courts, including Tigar's. Trump also lambasted U.S. District Court Judge Gonzalo Curiel, who presided over a class-action lawsuit against the now-defunct Trump University in 2016. Trump called Curiel, who is of Mexican descent and was born in Indiana, a Mexican judge to discredit his rulings. House Speaker Paul Ryan, Republican Wisconsin, called the remarks at the time the textbook definition of a racist President comment. Donald Trump fired back Wednesday after Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare rebuke of the president's disparaging remarks about federal judges. We do not have Obama judges or Trump judges, Bush judges or Clinton judges, Roberts said in a statement responding to comments Trump made earlier in the week criticizing the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. What we have is an extraordinary group of dedicated judges doing their level best to do equal right to those appearing before them. That independent judiciary is something we should all be thankful for. Trump, in a response later Wednesday, stood by his comments from the previous day that prompted Roberts' statement. Sorry Chief Justice John Roberts, but you do indeed have Obama judges, and they have a much different point of view than the people who are charged with the safety of our country. It would be great if the Ninth Circuit was indeed an independent judiciary, but if it is why? Trump tweeted. Several minutes later, he continued, are so many opposing view, on border and safety, cases filed there, and why are a vast number of those cases overturned? Please study the numbers. They are shocking. We need protection and security. These rulings are making our country unsafe, very dangerous and unwise. Roberts' comment came in response to an inquiry from the Associated Press. On Tuesday, Trump slammed the Ninth U.S. Circuit again, this time after a judge from the Northern District of California, where cases get appealed to the Ninth Circuit, issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration from barring migrants who cross into the U.S. illegally from seeking asylum. It's a disgrace when every case gets filed in the Ninth Circuit, Trump said as part of a lengthy criticism of the court. That's not law. Every case in the Ninth Circuit we get beaten and then we end up having to go to the Supreme Court like the travel ban and we won. Every case, no matter where it is, they file is practically, for all intents and purposes, they file it in what's called the Ninth Circuit. This was an Obama judge. I'll tell you what, it's not going to happen like this anymore. Roberts, who then President George W. Bush tapped to lead the Supreme Court, is the highest authority in the federal judiciary, and his remark was a rare direct response to the head of the executive branch. Speaking at the University of Minnesota Law School in October, Roberts emphasized the Supreme Court's independence and differences from the other branches. "I will not criticize the political branches," Roberts said. "We do that often enough in our opinions. But what I would like to do, briefly, is emphasize how the judicial branch is, how it must be, very different." Trump has been a frequent critic of the Ninth Circuit, and just a few months into his presidency, he said he was considering breaking up the circuit that covers a slew of western states, including the key border states of California and Arizona, and Guam. Several of his most controversial policies have been held up by judges there, and the temporary block on his attempt to rewrite asylum rules marked the latest such instance. Related, John Roberts played the long game. He just won. In addition to his criticism of the Ninth Circuit, Trump has previously attacked Roberts as well. While he was a presidential candidate, Trump in 2016 called Roberts a nightmare for conservatives in an interview on ABC. He also said in the interview that Justice Roberts could have killed Obamacare and should have, based on everything, should have killed it twice, a reference in part to Roberts casting the deciding vote in June 2012 to save President Barack Obama's signature legislative achievement, the Affordable Care Act. Roberts voted again in 2015 in favor of supporting Obamacare. More concisely, Trump tweeted after Roberts' first vote in favor of Obamacare in 2012, "Congratulations to John Roberts for making Americans hate the Supreme Court because of his BS."